Hello, fellow writers. My name is Laura, and welcome to Learn to Writer, where we learn the mental skills of being a writer. If this is your first time here, I'm so happy to see you. Welcome. And if you've been here before, may the words be ever in your favor. So I'm looking into self-publishing, and I want to take you guys along on this process because there's a lot of things that I'm realizing as I am doing it that I think will be helpful for other people to figure out in order to focus or just be aware of about their own writing and what their goals happen to be. The first thing for me in particular is finding out why I write. And I've thought about this a lot over the years, right? There were periods where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't ever want to write again. And then I'm like, what, am I really going to stop writing? Okay, no, I'm not going to stop writing. But one of those reasons, or one of those things that we want to figure out is what we're hoping to get out of writing. Because despite what society says, you do not have to make money off of your writing, like ever. You can write and be the only one who ever reads what you write, or you can write and show like your close family and friends and like that's it, right? Ever. Put it online and just hope that, someone stumbles across it one day, and then there are the paths you can take where you do make money off of your writing. And there are there's so many different ways that can look as well. You can publish and still have a day job and have a nice little group of fans and you make some money off of your writing and it's great. You can publish and make a shot at making a living off of your writing, putting out a book, like a regular book, so that people keep coming back and you're making some sort of a regular income. There's also publishing with the idea of being like everywhere, right? Like I want to be in every bookstore. I want to be on every platform. I want to have every eye possible on my book, right? And the money that comes along with that. And there's also wanting to become viral and making bank. Now, if all of us are truthful, most of us would like to be able to go viral and make bank. But in general, you can't make that like your end goal for writing. It's not in any way predictable. It's not anything that is in any way going to be under your control. Going viral is like getting hit by lightning, right? So, I kind of put that one in there as for fun, but I think part of it is that sometimes we think that we can just get out there and make a ton of money, and the industry just isn't like that, especially not these days. So you kind of want to be realistic about your expectations, right? It is perfectly possible to make a living off of writing, and it is perfectly possible to only ever have it as a hobby. Both of these things are possible, and you just have to decide where you are in your life, right? You have to remember that there is no right answer, right? There is no, oh, well, if you're writing, then you have to make money off of it, or if you're writing this genre, you have to do this with it. Like, first of all, you're just writing, and then second of all, you can decide how ambitious you want to be with it. For me, my desired reach has really not changed all that much in all of the years. I've always kind of just wanted to put out semi-regular books and have like a fan base that reads my books. As I've gotten older, I've realized how much more I want to have interaction with those fans, right? And it's become a lot easier. Like you can just set up your own Discord these days, and I have one. Where, people can come and I can build like a little community around the books that I put out, right? And that's kind of my goal for my reach, right? And that's always been my goal for my reach. I like the consistency of having a job with a paycheck. So that is what works for me. And who knows, that might change at one point, but right now that is definitely where I am. What you want to do with your books, the reach that you want to have with your books, and the publishing path are linked in some ways, but they are different in some ways. And so it's kind of important to consider those differently. Unless you're keeping your writing completely for yourself or only giving it giving it out to friends and family, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. The first is just publishing it online, right? Some sort of a writing site. You've got Archive of Our Own, you've got Wattpad. You can basically post stuff on any social media that you want. Some of them are more set up for it than others. I'm not convinced that you can do very much with Blue Sky, but you might be able to figure out how to do that. And then there's always having your own personal website and posting it up there and, spreading the links around. And that's the very basic. You're probably not going to be making much, if any, money off of publishing it in this way. I think there is a possibility with Wattpad. There are probably a couple other websites out there that I don't know about where you can post and monetize your writing. And truthfully, my first novel, The Law of the Prince Charming, is up on Wattpad. It's up there for free. At the point when I decided that agents were not interested in it and there was a pandemic starting, I figured that I would go ahead and post it. So I did. A step up from that is what we call vanity publishing. Vanity publishing, I think, gets a bad name, but at the same time, just like anything else, it comes down to what is it that you're planning on doing, right? If you just want to hold a book in your hand, you want to have a physical copy of the book that you wrote, then vanity publishing is exactly for you. I'm pretty sure you pay by the book or something like that, and it's fairly expensive, but you can get if you want a couple of books for yourself and to hand out to friends and family, that's perfect. Go ahead and do that. But know that what you're doing is just vanity publishing, right? You've got, of course, self-publishing, which differs from vanity publishing in that you are doing it with the idea of marketing it and getting it out there in the world, right? You're going to pay professional money to get things edited and for covers and all that kind of stuff. With vanity publishing, you're basically just getting the book. You don't necessarily need all of that. You don't need to make it beautiful because you're just doing it in order to have a book. If you're self-publishing, you are creating a product that other people are going to want to give you money for, not just friends and family. There's, of course, the large publishers and or the big four. I think it's still the big four. If that's changed, somebody let me know in the comments. It was the big five, and then one of them bought another one, and whatever. But going with larger publishers generally means getting an agent, because most of the big publishers won't take submissions without an agent. They put more money into creating a product that people want to buy, right? They've got marketing people and publicists and CEO and shareholders that they have to, pacify, right? It's a big thing, and it's also a very slow thing. The publishing industry is a huge ship that does not move very easily. How to get published is really the thing that has changed the most for me. When I was first getting into writing 15 years ago, between 10 and 15 years ago, vanity publishing and self-publishing was basically seen as vanity publishing. It meant you couldn't get an agent, you weren't good enough, and you were just going to go ahead and get published anyway. That is definitely no longer the case. Plenty of people self-publish amazing books, and plenty of books get published traditionally that are, I wouldn't say crap necessarily, but there are plenty of subpar books that get published. For a long time, I had made the conscious decision that I wanted to be traditionally published. I wanted an agent. I wanted somebody who was my confidant, my friend, and handled all the business side of getting the book, to a publisher and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to take care of the writing. I wanted to let the agent take care of the legal stuff, and I wanted the publisher to take care of creating the book, right? I'm a big proponent of professionals doing what professionals are good at. And the longer I went on, querying, even with as much preparation and knowledge as I had about querying and knowing that it's going to be a slog and all that kind of stuff, it kind of destroyed me a little bit. I finally settled into a place of, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. I need to get struck by lightning. And then I passed into my 40s, and I was I really can't wait around anymore, right? Like, I'm good enough to be published. I am aware that I am good enough to be published. The stories and the works that I produce at this point are of that quality. If I just can't happen to find my agent, I don't need to wait around for that anymore. Over the course of a year or two, I slowly convinced myself, yes, self-publishing is the way that I have to go with this. Like, if I want to get my books out there, that's just what I have to do. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's still that little part of me that's like, self-publishing is like, right, real writers don't self-publish. So not true anymore, but it's that little niggle is still there. If I take that, like, the fact that I would be good with self-publishing, and the fact that I don't want to pay my bills with my writing. I want to have, a small fan base that I regularly publish a book out to. That works with self-publishing, right? If you want to get in to like every marketplace and get in front of every eye, that is a lot harder to do with self-publishing, just because like most writers don't have the reach, right? You don't have the contacts. If you've got the contacts, if you are like, awesome, and you are a machine and you can go out there and just market, you might be able to do it yourself, right? It's just going to be that much harder. If you want to have a couple of books out there for friends and family, you don't need to be traditionally published, right? Like, that's probably overkill, right? Like, go ahead and vanity publish or self-publish, right? And so it's a matter of putting those two things together. And that being said, if an agent, like, emailed me tomorrow and said, I want to represent your book, like, I would definitely look into that. Obviously, I'd have to see if it was the right agent, but, like, I'm not against an agent. I'm not against traditional publishing. I've just, at this point, realized that if I'm going to go forward, self-publishing is what I'm going to be doing, because I have control over that. I don't have a control over whether or not the right agent is ever going to see my stuff, and the right publisher is ever going to decide that they want to publish my book at the right time, and like all the dominoes lining up or whatever. Self-publishing does cost money. We're talking thousands of dollars. That is a very rough estimate, but that's about what you would be paying. And, right now I have that. Right now I can swing that. Not everybody can swing that, right? When you go to traditional publishing, a lot of that setup cost is done by the publisher, and then you receive fewer royalties out at the other end because of that. But hopefully you'll have more sales because, you've got a publisher behind you. Like, all these things, you kind of have to take all of these things into account. But right now, self-publishing works for me, and it's possible that I could still change my mind. I am stepping into the self-publishing world because that's what's working for me. And even within the self-publishing world, there's a couple of different options. There are small presses, small-time publishers that you don't have to be agented in order to submit to them. Like, they are the publisher, but you don't need an agent as a go-in-between. There are hybrid publishers. There are author services, which are very similar to each other. It kind of depends on how much they take on and how much you end up paying for versus how much you do yourself. And I looked into the differences very briefly and basically settled on author services. Like I said before, I just want somebody to take care of the process of creating the book, and knowing that I'm going to be taking on the marketing and the outreach and, getting my book into whatever places and whatever platforms I'm going to get my book out onto. Like, I'm taking all of that on myself and the people who are willing to help me. One of those people who's going to help me is I have my life coach, who I've been working with for years, and she also happens to be a business coach. I just never really took advantage of that side of her expertise, and so now that I'm going to be self-publishing, I am going to be taking advantage of that side, and help her, or have her help me with the business side of selling the book. I'm not going to be doing it entirely on my own. I've got friends who have already reached out to me and have been like, is there something we can do in order to help support you? And I'm like, yes, I don't know what it is yet, but yes, there will be. And that's the type of thing, right? If you've got a community around you, friends, family, they probably will want to help in some way or whatever. So when I say that I'm doing it by myself, I'm doing it with my friends. It's going to be driven by me, supported by my coach, and then helped out by my friends. And I'm taking all of you guys along too, because why not? I know that this journey for myself is going to be a lot of discovery. It's going to be a lot of stress. I know there's going to be stresses. There's going to be things that go wrong. And I know that I still need to take this journey because I will learn a lot from it. I'm going to take you guys along on this journey as I, stumble through self-publishing, because hopefully it will help to soften the blow for you if you ever decide to take the same step. You can learn some of this stuff without actually having to do it yourself, and you can help to support me in whatever way you feel like you want to support me, even if that is just watching this video or watching the videos that are going to continue coming out in this series. One of the things you want to do is you want to figure out what it is that you want out of your writing. If it's making money, if it's publishing, all that kind of stuff, what kind of goals do you want to have, and how realistic are those goals? You're not going to be J.K. Rowling. Right now, you don't want to be J.K. Rowling. But, making those decisions for yourself is just an important part of what your writing is and where your writing is going. If you make a decision today, or like this is what you want today, that doesn't mean it can't change. I have found my path forward at this moment in time, and it might change. I'm hoping it doesn't change too much. And I don't think it'll change too much, but I have my launching off point, and I am excited about sharing that with you guys. So if you like this video, go ahead and like this video. Absolutely, if you want to come along on this journey with me, go ahead and subscribe, and you will be notified of when the next video goes up in this series, and you'll be notified of all my other videos, because I'm going to keep making other videos as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.